So last night I saw the series finale for Wandavision, and I have pretty good things to say about it. This is just going to be a general spoiler review. There's going to be spoilers in this, and also I'm going to do like a full breakdown of the episode in the beginning. So if you want to get my full review, skip to this timestamp that's going to pop up on your screen right now. Also, you guys can check out my Twitter for my full thoughts on every episode of WandaVision up to this point. Hey everyone, SW Nation here, and welcome back to a brand new review here in the channel. Please know that everything that I will say in this video is just my very own opinion, and you're free to comment down below what did you think of the series finale of WandaVision. Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's just get right into the review. So basically, we start off the episode right where we left off with Agatha holding Wanda's kids. Next thing you know, the kids, they get away from Agatha, and then Wanda did like this cool thing referencing Civil War where she like gets the car and like throws it at Agatha, and then we see like the car flipped over inside of a house and we see Agatha's boots sticking out, so it's like mirroring Wizard of Oz. I thought that was like a nice little callback. So that's basically how we start off the episode. Wanda and Agatha standing off, and then Agatha, she's shooting her magic at Wanda, Wanda's shooting her magic at her, and then Agatha is absorbing Wanda's magic. So that's what I found pretty cool about that. And then after, Wanda hits Agatha with the car, we see White Vision pop up. And at first, Wanda's like, Vision, is it really you? And then she later finds out that, oh no, this is not Vision, because he starts grabbing onto her head and tries to crush her skull. And in my opinion, I feel like Vision is one of the strongest characters inside of the MCU. If he wanted to, he could have easily just clamped his hands together and then clink, her skull is cracked. Like, her skull is no more. Wanda would be no more if they really wanted to go a dark route, if Vision just picked her up by the head and just clamped his hands together. That would have been an easy death scene for Wanda. But no, he tries to squeeze her skull together, and then we see the real Vision come through like a suit like Superman, and then just like crash him into the ground and start punching him, and then throws him. And this is where I kind of got the feeling that, okay, now they're using their budget. Now they're pulling out the big guns. Now they're trying to show us more CGI. And it still feels like a TV show. It still very much looks like a TV show. It does not look anywhere near what they said that, the CGI was going to look. They said it was going to have more CGI than Endgame. I believe it has more CGI than Endgame, but I do not believe that the CGI looks better. And mainly because it is a TV show, and most likely they're not going to have movie-style budget. Obviously, they have like a large movie-style budget for the whole entire show, but for each episode, probably not that much went into the budget. But in my opinion, I thought that, the fight scenes with Vision and White Vision was actually pretty cool. So it appears that Agatha is not really dead. She pops up again, and then, Wanda and Agatha, they go at it for a couple times. And then we cut to Evan Peters and Monica, and basically they're having like a little exchange and everything like that. And then we find out that Evan Peters is actually Ralph Bohner. And a lot of people are kind of mad at that because they feel like Evan Peters was kind of wasted. This is my thing. You guys don't feel like he was wasted. You guys just wanted him to be the Fox's universe. You guys just wanted him to be the Fox's universe Quicksilver inside of the MCU. That's what everybody was going on about. And I even said in the episode reviews on the regular podcast, people that watch the regular podcast and watch those episode reviews, you guys know, me and my friend, we have debates on if X-Men are going to be in this or not. And I said every episode, X-Men are not coming, mutants are not coming, there are not going to be any mutants, and this is not the X-Men Quicksilver or Pietro from the MCU. This is not him. And lo and behold, it wasn't him. It was Ralph Bohner. And I just feel that is way better than using another actor from an already failing universe inside of your universe. Why would Kevin Feige do that? So I believe that this was actually a pretty funny move. And I thought that the Ralph Bohner character was actually pretty cool. I didn't have any problems with it. So then we cut to Agatha and Wanda. They're flying around, and then Agatha kind of disappears for a while, and then Wanda just comes inside of town square. She's still looking for Agatha. So basically how the scene happens is that Agatha just like cut the strings off the people inside of Westview. I think the point of the scene was that they're still being controlled by Wanda, but they have their consciousness back. And that's what kind of I got from the scene. So then we start off with Dottie. She's like, hey, whatever storyline you want, just let my child out of her room. And the thing was, when she said, just let my child out of her room, okay, that's why there are no children in Westview. But then when Dottie said that I haven't seen her. That's criminal. That's when I realized that this show is taking a dark path. We've already seen them take dark paths inside of the show. We've seen Wanda's trauma be realized in front of her. The commercial. We love Wanda to her core, but she is doing a bad thing here. And we see it inside the people. The people are in agony. They are in pain. They're conscious of it, but they're still under her control. That's what I kind of liked about that whole entire scene. And then Agatha just kind of shows up and she's like, yeah, I just cut the strings of your puppets. So then Wanda sees what she's doing is bad. So then she opens up the hex to let the people out. But while White Vision and Vision are fighting up there, we already know that Vision can't live outside the hex. So Vision starts breaking apart. He falls down. And then we also see the kids running up to Wanda trying to help her. But then they collapse down. So the kids are not real, which was another one of my theories. I said that the kids are not making out of this on the regular podcast. Then as the hex opens up, people are leaving. But also Sword is making their way through. And as Wanda sees that Vision and her kids, both of them are dying right in front of her, she doesn't want that to happen. So she closes the hex up again, but then Sword still makes their way through. And then basically we get like an Incredibles moment where like they're all standing near each other. We all seen the photos. They're all standing near each other in like their superhero poses. So then the kids, they're taking care of Sword. Wanda's taking care of Agatha, and Vision is taking care of White Vision. So then we go to Vision and White Vision. They're still fighting. They're duking it out. But then White Vision says, my objective is to kill Vision. And then Vision says, but I'm not the real Vision. And basically it turns into like this physiological debate. And I loved that. I loved what they said about the rot and then the wood. I loved all of that. And basically the end thing is Vision touches White Vision, opens up his memories, but he doesn't have the memories of the Hex Vision. He has the memories of Vision up to Infinity War. So after he dies, so Vision's just like, hey, I got to figure this stuff out. He flies up. White Vision's no more. So then the other Vision comes out, and we see Wanda kind of do her little witch thing like she did in Age of Ultron. And she kind of like controls Agatha a little bit, make her think that she's back in Salem. And then she resurrects like the zombies, witches and stuff again. So then she's like pleading like, Wanda, please, no. Wanda fell for it. And Agatha kind of turns the zombie witches onto Wanda. And as the zombie witches are trying to get to Wanda and everything like that, we see like the Scarlet Witch crown appear above her head. And then Wanda uses her powers. She does a little breakdown thing. So basically, Agatha is still trying to make a deal with Wanda like she did at the beginning of the episode. Give me your magic, and then you can just live inside of this fantasy world. The people of Westview are going to be safe. You can live out your fantasy world with Vision and your kids, everything like that. And basically, Wanda's like, okay. They fly up into the clouds. So then Wanda was just like throwing her magic at Agatha, and Agatha was like consuming it. And then basically Wanda was missing. So she was missing. She was hitting the hex and everything like that. So Agatha basically got done absorbing all of her magic. And then we see Wanda just floating there, powerless. And as Agatha has all of her power, Wanda basically does like a callback to an episode ago, which in my opinion, I thought that was cool in the moment, but then I'm looking at it, I'm like, wouldn't it have been cooler if we would have saw something like that a couple episodes before, and then the callback happened a couple episodes later, instead of it happening the episode after? Like, that's kind of like where I was weird at. But basically, Wanda was only hitting the hex, so then the runes can show up. We find out about the rune situation. Wanda becomes the Scarlet Witch, got the new costume, the crown, and everything like that. She absorbs all of Agatha's powers. They bring her down to the ground. And basically, Agatha's like, you don't know what you unleashed. And throughout all of this, we've heard Agatha say, you're more dangerous than you know. She never said that you don't know how powerful you are. She said, you don't know how dangerous you are. So in my opinion, I believe we're going to see Agatha again. The kids, the thing going on with the kids, all they did was just stop one bullet and then flip a hat off of the sword agent. And then Hayward, he gets out of the truck, tries to shoot the kids. A lot of people are mad about this, and especially when going back to the missile situation, Hayward knew the kids were not there. Hayward knew that the kids were not real, so it's not really a big deal. Like, yeah, they're kids, but he knew that the kids were not real. Everything that Hayward has been doing in this series, I agree with. Well, look at what Wanda is doing. We're cheering for Wanda. Yay, Wanda. But she's holding people captive. Parents can't see their children. But everything that Hayward did inside of the series, I don't think was nowhere near close to what Wanda did. And Hayward tries to shoot the kids. Monica just comes in. Apparently she's bulletproof, so she has blue and yellow eyes. I don't know what all of that is about, but apparently she's bulletproof. So then she steps in front of the kids, take the bullets, and then Hayward kind of gets back into the truck. I think he's trying to drive off, and then Darcy just comes in with the RV and rams into him and says, "Enjoy jail." After all is said and done, Wanda and Vision, they return home, put their kids to bed, and they're like, "You guys did good out here today, but you are about to die." Like Wanda just sits there on the bed. She's like, "You guys did good out there today. Thank you for choosing me to be your mom. But you guys are dead. You are no more after this. The moment I walk out this room, you are going to dissolve into nothingness. You were never here." So then we get like this emotional scene where like Vision is and like, "Wanda, what am I?" And then Wanda just tells Vision everything that he is, that he's her sadness, her happiness, her grief, her life, her love. And I loved all of it. I loved the emotional scenes inside of the series because that's what the show was supposed to be. They wanted to tell an emotional story and they told it well, and I loved it. And then after it's all done, we see just Wanda in her clothes when she made the hex, and we just see her standing in the field. And in my opinion, I thought they did not just pull that. They did not just pull that it was all a dream. But then they didn't pull that, so I was pretty cool with it. She meets back up with Monica, and Monica assures her that, "Hey, you did a bad thing, but if I had those powers, I would do the exact same thing." And that's kind of like the reason, like, what I'm getting at. If anybody was in the shoes of these characters, Hayward or Wanda, they would have done the exact same thing. So then Wanda flies out of Westview. We get a mid-credit scene where it shows a Skrull meeting with Monica inside of the movie theater, and she says that, "Hey, I heard you've been grounded. An old friend of your mother sent me up there." So, like, she points up into the sky, and basically she's talking about Nick Fury. And in my opinion, I was like, I grabbed my nano gauntlet, and I clenched my fist together, and I was like, yes! Reference Far From Home. I want to know, why is Nick Fury up there? And it was so, it was fine for me. Because in every MCU installment after Endgame, we've seen Skrulls. We may see Skrulls inside of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And if we do, I think that, yes, they're definitely setting up Secret Invasion, and they're definitely setting up Captain Marvel too. After all the credits, our post-credit scene happens, and they basically show like a field or like some mountains and stuff. I swear to God, I thought Incredible Hulk. I swear to God, I was thinking Incredible Hulk. Oh my God, they're doing Incredible Hulk. This is so cool. But instead, it was just Wanda sitting on her stairs, drinking tea, and then we hear the kettle go off. She goes back into the house. But what's weird to me was that they didn't focus on Wanda. They focused on the door. So when you see the camera go inside the house, it was never on Wanda specifically. It was always on something else. And Wanda was just walking next to the camera. So Wanda goes to the stove. She pours herself some tea, and the camera moves past her. So I'm like, hey, whoa, 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 whoa. So then I'm thinking a jump scare is about to happen. So I'm leaning back in my seat away from my TV like, what are we doing here? And then the camera pans around, and one of the I swear to you, it's not scary, but it's just creepy and eerie. One of the creepiest and eerie things I've seen inside of this entire series. Wanda floating in the air, sitting, using the Book of the Damned. So basically we got introduced to this book 2 weeks ago. I saw the Darkhold inside of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is basically retconning Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even though Kevin Feige doesn't even like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He never wanted that show. So he's basically saying, oh yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that show, crumbled it up, don't exist. They name dropped the Sorcerer Supreme inside of this episode. So I was thinking that we were going to get like a Doctor Strange type of cameo and stuff, even though Doctor Strange really had nothing to do with this series. And this post-credit scene kind of showed that Wanda is doing something bad, and it is not going to end well for her. It's not going to end well for the MCU. It's not going to end well for Doctor Strange, who has to deal with this mess in Multiverse of Madness. It's not going to end well. And as we see, it's kind of like she wants her kids back, so she's looking in the Darkhold to try to figure out a way to recreate her kids again. She is doing a bad thing. But that is it for our little breakdown of the episode. Let's move right into just our review. And the good thing that comes to mind here is that this series works as a tragedy, unfolding in front of your eyes. It's an excellent portrayal of someone whose whole life was defined by tragedy, breaking to the point that she is abusing her powers by rewriting reality, just to live out her fantasy because of her grief. This is a dark story for Marvel, and I am so happy and glad that they were able to tackle this story, especially on a platform like Disney+. And this has kind of raised my excitement levels for the next shows. I pity the show Falcon and the Winter Soldier to follow this up. It's gonna be good and it's gonna be great, but I pity that show to follow up the emotions that I had watching this show, because I'm glad that this is a story that Marvel was able to tackle. Wanda is basically sharing her grief with everyone in Westview, and they are not in control of themselves. Wanda is in control of everything inside of Westview, and that's what makes it dark. That's what makes it depressing. That's what makes it sad. Because in all of these people that she's controlling, her grief is there. Every person inside of Westview is presented because of her grief. Every commercial was presented because of her grief. And I think that this story is all about us seeing the tragedy of a young woman dealing with her grief. I believed once Wanda became the Scarlet Witch, she never really moved on with her grief. And now she's becoming one of the most powerful characters inside of the MCU. She may be the Sorceress Supreme inside of Doctor Strange 2. And finding out that Wanda is doing all of this makes the intrigue better. The show, quality-wise, is so great and worked better to mask the mystery with the sitcom style. A lot of people wasn't a big fan of the sitcoms. I love the sitcom stuff because I grew up on sitcoms. It was fun. It was fresh. It was charming. It was refreshing to see something new inside of the MCU, and that's what worked about the series to me. Wanda, at the end of this, is an antagonist, and no matter how much we may love her, this show presented us with one of the most emotional MCU entries that gave us our first hero turned villain in the MCU. Brainwashing aside, if you want to say Bucky. Wanda is making bad choices right now, and I, for one, can't wait to see her again. But there are a few negatives inside of here. I wasn't really mixed on a lot of things inside of the series. There's some bad. And the bad thing that comes to mind here is that Agatha as a villain was mad to me. I found the reveal to not be that good, because they made it too obvious. They made it too on the nose. The brooch, the witch costume, come on. Her just popping up, come on. We knew it was Agatha. And that's the thing, when I kept hearing theories, like the moment Agnes appeared on screen, and there's like, it's Agatha, I was like, maybe. But I really hope that Agatha is not really the main villain here. But we're going to see Agatha again, which I am very excited for, because I love Catherine Hahn inside of this series. I remember the first two episodes, when the first two episodes dropped, and I talked about it on a regular podcast, I was like, I love Catherine Hahn in this. I feel like this role, it was so good for her. I loved Catherine Hahn in this show. But when Agatha appeared, and then when they revealed that it was Agatha all along, even though that song was fire, like, I play that song is fire. The whole entire sequence to me was just like Kevin Feige slapping us in the face like, yeah, I made y'all think that it wasn't Agatha, but guess what? It's Agatha all along. Like, okay, to me, I was like, okay, we already knew. It was too on the nose, but, you know, in my opinion, I found that to be not the best inside of the series. And also, let's not forget the finale as a whole, because it felt very underwhelming to me. Though I did just do like a whole little breakdown, and I found a lot of things that I liked about it, it was very underwhelming. And when you save all your action to the end and it's barely anything, it's just Vision flying around with White Vision, or just Wanda and Agatha floating up into the sky shooting magic at each other, that's a problem. When Agatha is revealed as the villain and barely does anything, that's a problem. We had so many episodes where they were centralized on Monica and Darcy and Jimmy, and then when they arrive in the Hex, they barely do anything. I thought Agatha was just way better at Agnes as the nosy neighbor character, and I kind of wish that she stayed as that character. Everything inside of the series was great to me, because when it ended, it was all about just Wanda coming to grips with her grief. And she never really accepted it, but she comes to grips with it. In conclusion, WandaVision was an excellent piece of emotional, resonant comic book content that really doesn't need to rely on action or big set pieces, but you kind of wish that they kind of did a little bit more action here. But instead, they relied on the emotional tragedy of being alone and dealing with your grief. This is a great introduction to Phase 4, to the MCU on Disney Plus, and this just raises the bar high for the MCU Disney Plus series. I cannot wait in 2 weeks for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I cannot wait after that for Loki, Black Widow. I just can't wait for Marvel to get back, because this is our first piece of MCU content in a year, and I think they needed that year. And I think we needed this show right now. This is something that we needed. And the finale aside, because the finale was underwhelming to me, it was okay, it was fine, but it was very underwhelming to me. The series was handled perfectly. I think that this is another win for Kevin Feige and his team at Marvel. I'm going to give WandaVision an A and a 9 out of 10. And I'm going to say stream it if you want something different from Marvel, because this is something different. And we've all been saying we want to see something different from Marvel. And then once they do it, you guys trash on the finale. Hey, listen, I didn't trash on the finale. I found it to be underwhelming, but I do not hate it. And I wasn't disappointed by it. But yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting, but that's both a good thing and a bad thing. This is what they wanted us to do with the show. And I think that they handled it perfectly well. Alright guys, that was it for my series review. Please know that everything that I did say in this video was just my very own opinion. And you're free to comment down below. What did you think of the WandaVision series finale and also the series as a whole? Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. And I will see you all next time. Peace.